Good morning, everyone. I will be on in a couple minutes. Good evening, good morning, etc. Tommy, yes. Thank you for being here. I will be back in a minute. Cut the music. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. It's like we got two people in the crowd. I heard Tommy say this morning, you can't use an avatar. No one will take you seriously if you have an avatar. Well, I'm sticking with an avatar, and this is the avatar I'm using today. What else do we got? Let's see here. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm out of breath partially from weed smoke, partially from just running around all morning. I got a busy 3 days ahead of me. I'll be selling today, tomorrow, and Saturday. There's a pot shop that I used to do in Buckley, Kush 21, which is way the hell on the other side of the county, literally. But I enjoy going out there. Well, I called that lady, texted her yesterday, said, hey, I'm thinking about coming out for Valentine's Day. And she goes, well, She goes, I run 4 of my own stores now. And how would you like to set up at one in Tacoma, which is right by my house? Shitty neighborhood, but I'm going to do it. Because I'm just going to be there in the morning, during the day. So kind of excited about that. And I'm really excited about the fact that she runs her own 4 stores. I know 2 of them. I don't know where the other 2 are at. I'm assuming probably like Seattle or something. How many woodchucks does it take to chuck a piece of wood? How did that go? How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He'd chuck all the wood that a woodchuck could if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Something like that. Something to that effect. CG2, good morning. Good to see you. Theme I hope you are doing well. I know Tommy was here for a minute. Tommy comes in, says hi, and then he's gone. And that's it. It's Valentine's, your busiest time. There was one, I think it was 2022. It was the Valentine's and Super Bowl weekend, I believe, were the same weekend. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm pretty sure it was. And yeah, I killed it one year. But no, I mean, yeah, it's busy. But I was thinking about it the last couple of days. I'm just not in a position to. I need to figure out how to ship my strawberries. That's my $1 million business, I think. Getting my chocolate strawberries to as many people as possible. However that's done. But yeah, what do we got going on today other than that? I can't stay on too long. I went to go buy strawberries yesterday. The first store that I went to, no strawberries. Second store, there was a bunch of strawberries, so I bought a bunch. But I think I need to go back one more time. Fluffy looks like he has gas pains in that. Yeah, he does, right? It's one of my favorite ones. Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. Now you could put Ben Shapiro and Erica Kirk in there, maybe. Benjamin Netanyahu and Erica Kirk. They're the new Jim and Tammy Baker. What do we got going on here? Hold on.
Thank you, Mr. President. As he said, my name is Caleb Blackford, and I am so proud and honored to be here today representing Peabody and coal miners across this country. My husband and I both work at Bear Run Mine in southern Indiana. I drive a haul truck, and I train others on this large piece of equipment. A haul truck is used to move rock or coal and is capable of carrying loads of nearly 250 tons. The tires are 12 feet tall. When I stand next to one, I barely reach the middle of the tire. It's the best job I've ever had, and not just because of the cool mom points I get for driving big equipment. My job supports my family. It supports our community, and it keeps the lights on and electricity affordable, not just in Indiana, but across the country. As demand increases and our lives become increasingly electrified, America needs to generate more electricity, not less. For years, coal miners have felt the weight of policies that made our future uncertain. Over the past year, that weight has begun to lift. My son, Isaac, who's here today, has friends whose parents also work at Bear Run. And when you grow up seeing huge mining equipment from the road, like Isaac and his friends do, you dream about the day when you get to run that equipment. When a mine closes, families don't just lose their jobs. They're often forced to leave their communities, their schools, and their support systems behind. The common sense policies to keep coal plants running implemented by this administration mean that my husband and I can keep working, stay where we are, and continue raising our son in our community that we call home. And the impact is even greater than that because you, Mr. President, have single-handedly kept utility prices affordable, the lights on, and our jobs alive. We are real people under these hard hats. On behalf of America's coal miners, thank you, Mr. President, for recognizing the value of coal and the value of the people who power this industry every day.
So I don't have too much context to what's going on with the coal mining industry, but hopefully people are getting back to work. I mean, I guess that's a good thing. Pam Bondi was in front of, I just had one of my, this is just a random thought. One of the little things that I put on the description was the JewFC. Let me put it in the chat. What happened to Khabib Nurmagomedov and the Dagestanis in the UFC? Remember when it was Khabib and then it was the other guy? The other guy became the next best thing since peanut butter and jelly. He was going to be, I can't even remember his name anymore. He was going to be the guy, the greatest of all time. The Dagestanis have all but disappeared. And I think it's because Larry Ellison owns Paramount, and the UFC is now with Paramount. And unfortunately, you know, when it comes to the Zionist Jews like Larry Ellison, they're super fucking racist. And so it's not really a national competition anymore. It's not a global competition because there are certain areas they're just like, fuck it, we don't even want to compete. We're good. It's all very interesting, the global stage, you know. Just a random thought, the JewFC. Speaking of Jews, our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, was in Washington, D.C., getting her ass lit on fire, as she should, for covering up the Epstein files. And what is her response to it? And I have a few videos. The economy's good. You're not a real attorney. This is just a clown show. She's something else.
Want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no
President
evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please
that
stop the
he
clock.
sign
Please stop the clock.
the legislation. This is
I'd like to reclaim my time. Want to know.
That's just one of many. Here is We Are Live. Yes. She was a total disaster. I felt, yeah, right, CG2? Yes, We Are Live. Tommy, hello, sir. How are you? I don't even know what this is. I just clipped it. Melania Trump.
Where shall I sit? Right here? Hi, how are you? Oh, you're so quiet. It's a celebration day, right? A little early. A little early. Nice. Oh, thank you. So what are you doing?
Today we're gonna make paper cake.
Yes.
So you have all the materials in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll use the stickies to glue on the hearts and the straws, and then decorate with extra hearts everywhere.
Oh, beautiful.
So you fold this. Right?
Yes,
We're gonna fold these. Nice. So everyone can grab one. You need to show me. Show me. It's nice.
I mean, I like Melania Trump. I heard they tried to make it, the numbers for her documentary like way bigger than they were, kind of like the TPUSA numbers. Get this, Melania Trump's new documentary got hit with a copyright claim. No, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, apparently TPUSA couldn't air their halftime show on X because of copyrights or something. I don't know exactly how all that works. Interesting. My takeaway on this is, in light of the Epstein files and how they're possibly eating kids and all, I would just rather not have anybody that's near any of that stuff around my children or my grandchildren. I'm good. Don't need it. Don't need the camera time. Don't need the 10 seconds of fame. And no offense to her. She seems like a really nice woman, but I don't need the Secret Service or any of those people anywhere near me. Just saying. That is interesting, though, about the copyright. Mikey McCoy. Good old Mikey McCoy. The devil is always in the detail or details. And come to find out, Charlie had two studios, Charlie Kirk. He had a home studio, and then he had his studio. And the home studio, long story short, pretty sure that there was a fight between Erica and Charlie the night before he got killed. And Charlie took a picture of him and Erica out of the office, took it down. And then Erica's going on about her business, lying as usual after he's killed. And she doesn't realize that he did that, that he took that picture down. It was the internet sleuths that figured it out. Hold on a sec. I think if I click on this, we get to Candace.
We are told that following that tragic ending, Erica could not even or didn't want to move any of his items out of their place in their bedroom, bathroom. That's what she told the New York Times a few days later when she welcomed them into that apartment, the one that you're seeing there. Well, then fast forward to December 12th, and as a part of her Shabbat Shalom PR blitz, she conducted her very first interview from Charlie's home office. She gave that interview to Glenn Beck. And during that interview, she was playing the part, as you are about to see, of this is my first time back in his office. And she keeps looking down and she says, sorry, I'm looking down. I'm just looking at all of these things that Charlie left over on his desk. The obvious insinuation to the public being that she had not yet traversed into that space. She had not gone through the things. She had not seen the last things that he wrote on the notepad. And yet, curiously, that wedding photo is missing.
Yeah, and it's a big deal. That is a big deal. Patty, good morning. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. That whole thing is just very strange. I lost my train of thought about what I was going to say about that. So I'll just kind of move on. Let it marinate here for a second. When Erica, this picture up here where there's no photo, if you've seen that video, she's like it's really emotional, just like the one with the mannequin hands at the coffin. She's like, sorry, I'm just looking at everything. It's my first time back in this office since Charlie's been killed. He wrote on everything. He wrote on all these, there's little Post-it notes here. She makes it this big ordeal that this is the first time she's been back in her office. But then here's the last time Charlie was in that chair before he died. And here's the first time that Erica's been in the office in that chair since he was killed. Who moved the photo? And then on top of that, here's what now I got my train of thought back. What makes it even more of a bigger deal is that we just found out just recently that Erica Kirk was texting a 15-year-old girl saying that I want to be in your happy garden. And there's a whole big thing about these sex text messages that Erica Kirk was sending a 15-year-old girl. It just gets worse and worse and worse. I want to be in your happy garden. It's just fucking disgusting. Anyway, so it is a case of who moved that photo. We'll never find out. And then Erica Kirk or Candace Owens then posts here just 12, 13 hours ago. I hate to be a sticker for details, but Erica told Glenn, meaning Glenn Beck, it was her first time back in Charlie's office during the interview on 12/11. So did Gigi ask Mikey McCoy to move the wedding photo because Mikey gave an interview a month earlier on 11/8 and it was already moved. So she just keeps getting caught in more and more and more lies. Careful I don't know if they do this in the United States. This is in India for the World Cup. And there's a little concession stand where they are taking unused, they look, I guess, unused of the cups and pouring them back into the bottle.
भाई ये देखो अरुण जेटली स्टेडियम अभी जो थम्स अप बच गई है ना ये सारी ये बोतल में डाल रहे हैं वापस और अगला जो भी मैच होगा उसमें चली जाएगी ये सारी देख रहे हो स्कैम ये एक बिना गैस वाली थम्स अप पीते हो तुम सब ये देखो भाई वो भी आधा मिलता है ये देखो भाई अब ये बोतल पैक होके अगले मैच में यूज होगी भाई ये देखो
I'm never going to India, so I don't have to worry about it. But yeah. More Pam Bondi. Okay, so this was not recent. This was, but this wasn't just yesterday. This was a while back ago. So gives a little context to who she is.
So who gave the order to flag records related to President Trump?
To flag records for President Trump?
To flag any records which included his name.
I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you, Senator.
Eventually, you're going to have to answer for your conduct in this. And you won't do it today, but eventually you will. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
So, and yes, you will have to answer for it eventually, and she is under the hot seat. So I have a couple of videos on that. What happened to all the children and what are they doing? Is it pedophilia? Are they eating kids? I mean, what the fuck is really going on? This guy is an ex-employee of the Bohemian Grove, the 3,000-acre camp for elite men. He said that local kids were disappearing and he believes they were being used as sacrifices at the Grove. Hippies began to protest these kidnappings, and in response, they burnt down their stores and began expanding kidnappings to surrounding cities. He said the protests were so strong that now the elites have to arrive by helicopter for their summer events. The entire place was super creepy. And if you guys know the story about Bohemian Grove, that's where they worship that giant owl or whatever. An owl is like really embedded into the government for whatever reason. It's hidden in the dollar bill. It's everywhere. You know, I think they call a group of owls a parliament, right? But anyway, this guy used to work at Bohemian Grove, allegedly. Alex Jones was famous for sneaking in there and getting video of it. He was the first one to capture video of it. Alex.
It's their secret little hideout, their little getaway where they can go do evil stuff that no one knows about.
Yeah.
It's almost like a whole Epstein Island type thing. Worked out at the Grove too, doing tree work and stuff. And it's just a creepy place. Just being there is creepy. But I've seen the statues do the sacrifices and stuff. It's pretty bad.
They do sacrifices there?
That's why we think
what do they
kids were
sacrifice?
missing for years back in the day, is that they were sacrificing local kids. Anyone who was kind of lower on the income, their kids that were disappearing. But as I got older, they get noticed, so they started getting kids from other places. Everyone that goes there is like the real high up bigwigs, presidents, senators, congressmen. They all go up there every year, do their little summer parties out there. Now they fly them out. Yeah, I saw the Clintons there. I've seen George W. Bush there and George Bush Sr. No women allowed in the place. And I think they bring women in to satisfy the guys. And then they do their big ceremony, ritual thing, and then they pretty much, it's called the cremation of care. They do it like once every summer. Different, it's all done by numerology when they're going to do it, so no one knows unless they're part of the elites that know. It's creepy, it's wrong, you can tell it's wrong, and there's a lot of younger girls that come through there that like come through and eat with the guys, and then you don't see them again.
It's all very crazy. Yeah, that pop would taste flat and disgusting. There's probably like little pieces of plastic in there now. Oh, just gross. Yeah, Bohemian Grove. And have you guys heard the story about what's his name? The musician, Garth Brooks. Apparently, everywhere he goes, people come up missing. Every like all of his concert stops, there's like all these people that have come, hundreds of people have disappeared. If you map out where his concerts toured at, there's a whole thing about that. I keep my kids away from beauty pageants, camps, young military operations, all that shit. It's just too dangerous right now. You don't know who these fucking people are. It's not a good time to be sending your kids abroad for anything. Oh yeah, even George W. Highly involved in, remember Bill Russert? Wasn't that the host of Meet the Press? He was famous for questioning George W. and John Kerry about Skull and Bones, the secret society at Yale University. And then he ended up dying of a heart attack very, very shortly after asking those questions. I don't know if you guys remember that host of Meet the Press back in the day, like in the 90s. Yeah, he's George W. and his dad. You guys want to watch an interesting video really quick? Let me see, where was it at? Let me see if I can find it. There's a couple things that I came across today watching Tucker Carlson with this guy. It led me to the Invention Secrecy Act. Have you guys ever heard of this? The Invention Secrecy Act of 1951. It says that, hold on. Like, what the fuck is he talking about now? It's a United States federal law that authorizes the government to suppress disclosure of certain inventions for a reason of national security. The statute empowers selected federal agencies to decide whether a patent application poses a risk and to compel its classification under secrecy orders. But it will also go on to say that it's not just about national security for like military, it's also about economic stability. And that's what this guy on Tucker Carlson talks about. That all of these, for for example, a guy who rerouted his lawnmower carburetor back into the engine, and he was able to get like a whole bunch of extra gas out of one tank. So then he modified a car, and he was able to get 200 miles a gallon. He ended up dead. There was the guy, if you guys remember from the 90s, the guy who invented the water engine. He ended up dead. Like, everybody ends up dead. And the military acquires, I think if, I don't know, we have to listen to the video. We could play the video. I just thought that was very interesting. The Invention Secrecy Act. So if you invent something that is, could save people a lot of money, or it could hurt the oil industry or anything like that, they can just take it from you. And then you have to sign a non-disclosure. You like the Avatar, Patty? I just can't imagine Garth Brooks as a serial killer. He just looks like a big doofus to me. Yeah, it's crazy. I've got friends in low places. Like, how low? Like in the ground low? I mean, Grateful, hello, hello. What have I walked into? Garth Brooks. Yeah, there was that whole thing about that. You guys didn't hear about that? Hold on. We'll just play a quick little tidbit of this. Hello, this is Jim and my wife, Tammy Baker here. If you would like to donate to our mega church here and our chandeliers and our horse stables and our limousines, and didn't those guys have like all high-end lifestyle, Jim and Tammy? I think he's still around, believe it or not. Isn't he still alive, Jim Baker? And she's long gone. Jim Baker. 86 years old. And he runs the Zion Christian Fellowship. Yeah, the Zion. This motherfucker is a dirty motherfucker. More than I thought. Zion. And poor Tammy, you probably killed Tammy Faye, motherfucker. I bet you did. She died July 20th, 2007. And yet here we are 20 years later, he's still alive. Remarried. Huh. Very interesting. Isn't that very interesting? Let me just not get my ADD kicked up. Yo, where's the volume? Start it over. Oh my gosh. Okay, I guess we can't start it over.
And how Garth Brooks, and we did a whole video on Garth Brooks. And she's like, yeah, this is how it started. And we go through the whole process, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we go through it. And one of the things she mentions, and I looked into it, and this is so fucking funny. One of these people, one of Segura's fans, came up with the theory that if you take that, there's a list out there. She says there's supposed to be a list out there where somebody has taken all of Garth Brooks's tour dates, and every tour date lines up with a missing person or an unsolved homicide. Every place he's ever been. Now that's
whether that's true or not, I don't know, but there's a whole thing about that. I don't really like that guy Matt Cox, but I think he was a con man or something. He got locked up for something. It's hard for him to tell the truth. but I'm sure there, you know, whether that's true or not, there's something to all of this. You know, the sex trafficking and all these kids missing and stuff like that. I think that's part of it. You know, I really do. It's not like they want ugly kids. It's not like they want dumb kids. You know what I mean? So, yeah, grateful. It's the whole thing. But what I wanted to do is play. I mean, I guess there's this one we could play. And yeah, I will play a little bit of this one real quick. We're going back to the moon. So it's relevant. I mean, who, you know, if we were going to say, you know, in 2026, did they fake the moon landing? I mean, honestly, who really cares at this point? You know what I mean? It doesn't really, I mean, I am convinced that they did. I mean, but now it's kind of relevant because they're saying they're going back to the moon. So now here we are again. You know, is this going to be a whole new set of lies, a whole new set of fuckery? What are we doing? You know, I mean, are we really going? And these guys, Tucker and this guy, I'm going to play a little bit of it. If I can find where it was at. Here it is.
But through time. So there was one time where Joe McMoneagle was given coordinates and he remote viewed it and he said, I think I'm on Mars. I said, okay, what do you see? He says, I see these tall, slender beings walking around. Something's going on. There's a problem. There's species is dying. And he said, I feel like it's a long time ago. And he comes out of his trance or whatever. So the coordinates were Mars. And it said Mars 1 million BC. So he saw beings on Mars. At the time, the Mars was supposed to be this barren planet. But Mars was very Earth-like.
Yes.
Oceans, but at the time, no one said that. But Joe saw it. Just like Ingo on the moon saw alien bases on the moon, saw psychic beings on the moon. He said they're aware of us. And I think those are the things that make the government nervous.
Did the crew of any of the Apollo missions, when they landed on the moon, did they see anything?
Officially, no. The story goes that there's a radio blackout when Neil and Buzz are up there, when they first get there. And there is a radio blackout. And the story is, well, you know, how the orbit works. Sometimes the radio signal drops, whatever. The story is they switch over to the medical channel and said, they're here, they're on the crater, and they can see us. That's what the story is. And Ingo Swann said he saw things on the moon. He saw structures, he saw beings that are there. If you go through secondary sources, every astronaut has seen strange things in space. Edgar Mitchell is on record as saying UFOs are real, they're extraterrestrial, Roswell is real, that happened, we have craft, the government is lying. This is the sixth man to walk on the moon. This is not a kook, this is an American hero. So something's clearly going on up there. But anyway, that's the
What do we
nutshell.
know about the moon exactly?
Not very much. Not very much at all. Let me ask you, do you think we went to the moon? Do you think we landed on the moon?
I have a lot of thoughts on it that I never get into. I mean,
You squirmed the way I do and asked.
I mean, I went down this once because it's my job, right? And I found it really distressing, so I just kind of gave up. But I did, you never know who's telling you the truth about anything, right? But I talk to people, I sort of do trust. Like, no, it's not. But then I thought, whatever. I don't. There are a lot. I spend my life looking at it.
So it's just all very interesting. I would love to know the truth about all of that. I wonder if we will ever know. The average temp on the moon is negative 85 degrees. Yeah, I've always went with the theory that they're just full of shit, that they never went to the moon. But then, my buddy Kyle, my roommate, says, he was in the Navy, and then they point a laser up at the moon to measure the distance. He goes, you don't know who's been to the moon, but somebody had to be to the moon to put that thing there that they point the laser at. And then you hear these stories. I never really heard that before, that, there's I know I had heard that there were like maybe structures and stuff. I never heard that they seen people, or maybe not people, but something, beings. So maybe that's why they lost all the footage and never went back. They were told not to come back. And maybe that's why, if you ever watch that interview with Buzz and Neil and Alan, they look fucking terrified. They look like somebody has really threatened them, for sure. So it's all very wild. Sorry, not the moon. Mars is negative 85 degrees. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. But I'm sure, you know, with the moon, it probably gets very hot and very cold, right? You would think. Or the moon always has a dark side, right? So is one side hot and one side cold? Is that how the moon works? You have like an extremely cold side and then an extremely warm side. I'm glad you don't do a show right before I go to bed, Osada. This would keep me awake at night. Not sure it got me. Yeah, that's funny. Grateful. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's see here. What else we got? I better get a move on here. There's another really good one about the Secrecy Act between these two guys. It's a great thing, but I'm not going to play it. I don't have time. Tucker Carlson, check it out. It just happened. Great interview. Get back to these guys. You know, this guy, at first, I thought he was like a drug addict. You know, he kind of has that, you know, I've been on drugs my whole life and homeless, but no, those are trauma eyes. That guy's seen some shit. And you can tell, you know, when he talks about, it's wild. Yeah, at one point, Pam Bondi was questioned about the Epstein files, and she goes on a tangent about how the economy is doing good and rent is at an all-time low. And this is one of her staffers in the background.
National median rents have fallen to a 4-year low thanks to Donald Trump. She said where? They want to
Brian Harple, you guys know who he is, right? This is the guy that stuck. He was Charlie Kirk's head of security. This is the guy responsible for him. He's just a stone cold liar. You want to talk about, you know, like you could go with maybe Garth Brooks had something to do with being a serial killer, but this guy, man, have you ever watched the Behavior panel? They break down that interview and say the same thing. The guy looks nervous. The Behavior panel. The guys look nervous. No, I haven't. I'll have to check that out. You're talking about the Moon panel, guys? Yeah. If you play the song "The Dark Side of the Moon" and the video of The Wizard of Oz, you will get a perfect video for the song if you started at the right spot. Yeah, I've seen and heard that, Adam. Love that song, too. Love Pink Floyd. All right. So let's listen to this guy talk about how he treated Charlie Kirk's wound when he was shot. If he was shot. He was not shot.
Face to face, and then when I was doing that, I went down, I could see the wound. And so I immediately shoved my hand into the wound to stop the bleeding, just trying to find the pressure. And it was coming out still. And I'm on top of him, like close. And it was still coming out enough.
I'm going to start this video over because, you know, people, when they leave their head towards their left, it's an indication that they're lying, experts say. Watch that video again and watch which way they yeah, he's an ER doc. Yeah. So this guy, you know, after everything we know already, you know, this guy is a stone cold fucking liar. So I'm just going to say that ahead of time. I don't even want to go with innocent until proven guilty or none of that bullshit. This motherfucker is part of this shit. He's part of who killed Charlie Kirk, and he's a stone cold liar. So I just want to say that I'm going to start it over. Because once you put your they already proved this. Okay? It's on video. Once you put your hand into the wound like that, into that type of a wound, you can't take it out until you get to the surgeon. And I think he might even have said that. But he's on video going down there, and he says that's when he puts his hand in the wound, and then he stands back up. Complete fucking lie. And then not only that, they just drag Charlie Kirk. They grab, you know, limb by limb and just carry him off like a fucking pig to not the ambulance, but to an SUV. So let me play it over.
Face to face. And then when I was doing that, I went down, I could see the wound. And so I immediately shoved my hand into the wound to stop the bleeding, just trying to find the pressure. And it was coming out still. And I'm on top of him, like close. And it was still coming out enough that it squirted through my fingers and I could taste it on my lips. And so I was like, man, this is a bad one. I don't know when I put the first piece of medical on him. It was sometime after that. Because I carry it right here. And that's why you carry it on you. You got to have it there. So
I didn't realize that this video, I didn't watch it. I didn't realize that somebody clipped it. So I don't want to watch it. I can't stand like these edited fucking things. I thought it was the entire interview of that. So I'm going to stop it. Adam, I like the body language stuff. So interesting. The behavior panel completely debunked the recent alarm that came out last year confirming alien life. Oh, yes. Yeah, you know, it's crazy because the interview with Tucker Carlson and that guy that we just watched, he says that a lot of these, you know, some of this tech, like the Tic Tac and these different alien sightings that you know, people have allegedly seen are probably from, you know, it's just our government, and they have all this stuff. And, you know, one of the reasons that we don't know about it is because even private citizens that invent stuff, I didn't know that it can fall under the Secrecy Act. So imagine, and I read a little bit about it. It said that on average, like 100 and something patents fall under the Privacy Secrecy Act every year. So do you watch Chase's stuff? I lean towards him and listen to Scott for a good giggle and all that. So, I'm not sure. Oh, that must be the behavior panel. You guys are talking there. Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, yes. Randy Quaid. I don't know if you guys remember him and his wife went to Canada because I think he said something about there was the Hollywood mafia. Yeah, hit mafia was out to get him. And he doesn't sound so crazy now.
What he said at this press conference is nonetheless eye-opening. Check this shit out.
For the past 20 years, my wife Evie and I have been the victims of criminal activities perpetrated by a small network of individuals who are out to destroy us personally, professionally, and financially. This network of individuals is manipulating the banking system and the criminal justice system for the purposes of sabotaging our credit and our credibility. We are not criminals, nor are we fugitives from justice, nor are we crazy. We are simply artists and filmmakers who are being racketeered on. We believe there are to be a malignant tumor of star whackers in Hollywood. How many people do you know personally who have died suddenly and mysteriously in the past 5 years? I have personally known 8 actors, all of whom I have worked with and was close to. Heath Ledger, Chris Penn, David Carradine among them. I believe these actors were whacked, and I believe that many others, such as Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, and Mel Gibson, are being played to get at their money. In the meantime, many a celebrity's image and marketability is being co-opted and destroyed. Google helps out by keeping the negative stories near the top of a celebrity's webpage because it's the negativity that brings in the advertising revenue. I have earned approximately $40 million throughout my career. I have profit participation in some of my films. I am being embezzled from by this monstrous ring of accountants, estate planners, and lawyers who are mercilessly slandering me and trying to kill my career, and I believe murder me in order to gain control of my royalties.
And I believe that that is true, and that's what they do to everybody. And it's funny that he said David Carradine because, you know, what was the story with David Carradine? He was like jerking off, and they found him with a belt around his neck or some weird shit like that. They just totally try to, you know, embarrass these people even after they're dead if you don't go along with their plan. Heath Ledger. I mean, it's pretty fucking wild, man. I don't think it's worth it to be famous. Careful who you get your money from. Trock, what's going down? The military technology is decades ahead from whatever technology, 30, 40, 50, 100 years, if not even more. I am glad he is coming out about, and that was a while ago, Patty. That video was taken a long time ago, years ago. Mossada, was it you who played the Ethan Hawke video about being scary for actors to speak about anything these days? It's been since Robin. I'm not sure, Grateful. I can't remember. I play so many videos. It doesn't ring a bell. Musicians, 100%. Tom Petty, Prince. Who was the Ledger guy? He played Batman, or he played the Joker. He was like the original Joker, right? Or one of the, not the original Joker, but Why So Serious? He was the greatest Joker of all time. Yeah. Careful who you get your money from. Yeah. It is so true. Kurt Cobain was talking about children being raped. Now, he was from here. He was from Seattle, Pacific Northwest. Grew up in Aberdeen, over by the coast. And there was a famous actress, and I can't remember who it is right off the bat. I looked it up earlier. Hold on. Frances Farmer. She lived from 1913 to 1970. And he was fascinated by her story. He wrote a song called Frances Farmer Will Have Her Revenge on Seattle. from the 1993 album Utero. But she was put on a and she was put on a mental, she was put in a mental institution. And he alleges that she was repeatedly raped by the staff over there. He was an interesting character, and his death was even more wild. I mean,
she was kind of a foul-mouthed person, you know, and she hated the whole Hollywood scene, and she expressed her hatred for them publicly. And so, and she also, when she was like, I think she was 15, she entered this essay contest when she was living here in Seattle entitled "God is Dead," and a lot of people accused her of being a communist. And then she went to New York and
that sent chills down my spine when he said that. I this is the second time I watched that video. But my daughter, when she was 17, he just said 15. When my daughter was 17, she entered a iHeartRadio essay contest, and the grand prize was $5,000, and Ryan Seacrest will call you to tell you that you're the winner. And my daughter won. She won the essay contest. And first they had to talk to my ex because she wasn't 18 yet, and then they sent a check. They sent the check. They sent it to my ex because Jayla was only 17 at the time. But now that I hear that story, it's crazy. My daughter has won like all kinds of movie tickets and concert tickets like her whole life. She enters all these fucking contests and wins. I don't know how she does it. But that just fucking sent chills down my spine. I don't want Ryan Seacrest or anybody calling any of my kids ever again about anything, especially the way he looks now. Fucking creep.
Was a part of this acting troupe, and so it supposedly had communist ties too. And so then there's this big conspiracy amongst a judge, a very well-known, prominent judge here in Seattle, and a bunch of other people who had ties with Hollywood, and they basically just set her up and ruined her life. You know, they had some pictures taken of her when she was arrested for drunk driving, and it was a big, huge scandal. And she eventually was sent to a mental institution and given a lobotomy and raped every day for years, and just totally abused, and ended up like working at a.
I'm just gonna stop it there, but it's just kind of crazy that the pattern. There's just a pattern, always a pattern of, people that, that lady, that Frances Farmer publicly speaks out against Hollywood, put in a mental institution, abused. Kurt Cobain talks about that, ends up, committing suicide, allegedly. So Grateful dropped the Ethan Hawke comment. Okay, awesome. I will bookmark that, and I will play that tomorrow. I'm going to fly through these here because I got to go. Richard Dreyfuss discussing Bill Murray's unacceptable behavior on the set of What About Bob 1991.
Didn't talk about it for years. Bill just got drunk at dinner. He was an Irish drunken bully, is what he was. He came back from dinner. He walked in and I said, "Read this. I think it's really funny." And he put his face next to me, nose to nose, and he screamed at the top of his lungs, "Everyone hates you. You are tolerated." There was no time to react because he leaned back and he took a modern, like glass-blown ashtray. He threw it at my face from closer than you are. And it weighed about 3/4 of a pound. And he missed me. He tried to hit me. I got up and left.
Bill Murray. I live in a very old silver coal mining valley. We still have a coal steam issue. There's an apartment building here that was a psych hospital from 100 years ago. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. Wouldn't want to sleep in that. Mary Gay Scanlon. Another Pam Bondi interaction.
I think we get it. You don't want to answer the
No,
question.
you don't get anything regarding public safety.
Thank you.
Nothing.
Thank you for the insult. It's clear you didn't come to Congress prepared to answer questions that the American people have every right to have answered.
Yep. Covering for Trump. Jasmine Crockett and Pam Bondi.
Taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. And I might add that y'all actually had a judge that rejected y'all for trying to arrest Don Lemon before, just like the grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Kelly, just like a grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Slotkin, just like the case against Tish James was dismissed and the case against Mr. Comey was dismissed. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ because you don't seem to be good at your job. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting these journalists. In fact, we know after Georgia Fort and Don Lemon were arrested, we know that there were homes of journalists that were raided. We know that threatened prosecution against students protesting your actions and forced tech companies to remove apps used to track ISIS activities. But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, this is a good one. Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles.
You know which presidential administration under which the PIN was first created?
I can tell you what administration that the weaponization was ended under.
I'll reclaim my time. This wasn't a trick question.
You don't get to
Madam Attorney
reclaim
General.
your time.
Madam Attorney General,
Because I don't like it.
Mr. Chairman,
I
will
don't
you explain
answer
to the
a
witness
question
that
the way
he
you like
does
it?
reclaim his time?
Because I don't answer a question to your satisfaction.
Mr. Chairman.
Madam Attorney General, the time belongs to the gentleman from Colorado.
The president under which PIN was created was Gerald Ford. It was created after Watergate. I'm not asking a question, Madam Attorney General. The administration under which it was created was Gerald Ford. When you first started as the Attorney General of the United States, there were 35 people working in that office. There are now 2 people working in that office because you have gutted it. How many people work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team in the criminal division today?
Can I answer the question about PIN?
I've asked you a question. How many
You've
people
asked me
work?
a question, but you don't
How
want
many
the
people
answer.
work
I'm not
for the
gonna answer your
National
questions the way you
Cryptocurrency
want.
Enforcement Team? You won't answer how many
I'll
people?
answer PIN.
You.
PIN will not be
you know what?
weaponized.
You know what?
What's
Madam
funny
Attorney
about
General,
this?
I'll say to the chairman.
What's funny about
Chairman,
this?
you know what the answer is? And I think I understand
funny
why the
about
Attorney General
this?
does not want to answer the question, because you eliminated the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team last year. So I understand why you don't want to tell the American people who works there.
Yeah, I
No one
understand
works
why
there
you don't want to
anymore,
talk about
Madam
Mohammed
Attorney
Solomon
General.
in
So
your district.
in any event,
who
I would
murdered people.
Mr. Chairman, will you stop the clock so his time is not wasted?
You're spending more taxpayer
My mic was muted. Damn it. I don't know if you guys heard that, but he said that she eliminated the crypto enforcement security team or whatever. And there's all those stories about Donald Trump Jr. running crypto scams now and all this stuff. She's a fucking, she was just put in there to protect Trump and the pedophiles. They are correct. I hate to say that, but they are correct. That's shitty about Bill Murray saying, or about the other guy, Richard Dreyfuss, saying he might sell it. I saw Bill Murray out of Wendy's years ago. He took my French fry off my tray, looked me in the eye, and said, "No one's going to believe you." That's cool. Yeah, I had a pro basketball player eating chicken wings off my table one time. Sedale 3, little short guy, used to play for the Lakers. We were in Seattle after a Sonics game one time, the Seattle Sonics way back in the day. All right, I have, I think, one more video on this one. Let's see here. No, I'm gonna have to cut it short, guys. I got to get going. I got to get back to work and get out there. The Valentine's weekend. Hold on. Before I go, I almost forgot about that Ethan Hawke video. Where's the link at? Right here. Get that saved on here. Ethan Hawke speaks out about not being able. All right, we'll play that one tomorrow. Well, maybe not. I may not be live for the next couple days. It just depends. I don't think I'm going to be. I'm already stressed out right now. I got to get out. I need to get to work. So it sucks that I have to get back to work. I am loving this. Right on, Adam. Yeah, we go live every day. Tomorrow I may or may not be live. I don't know. But yeah, we're usually live right around this time sometime. But everybody have a great day. I appreciate everybody stopping by. And I will see you all next time.